This is an emergency message I need to get out to every single person watching this right now, whether you follow or not. This is not clickbait. This is a PSA. You need to hear this. Please take a moment. The safety of the American people is first and foremost important right now. I'm getting information from my source, Jeffrey Prather of Prather Point, ex-Intel, ex-Special Forces, who is telling me that there's reports right now coming out of Washington of something massive that potentially is going to be taking place tomorrow on January 6th. This is what he said to me specifically. He said, since my Saturday emergency warning, he said the FBI has supposedly pulled additional manifestos from Littleberger's blown up phone, revealing I assess the deep state's explosive false flag for tomorrow and their plans to blame veterans and militia. He says, hopefully by publishing this widely and the snowstorm will cause them to cancel. So please share this out widely. Avoid crowds. If unable, stay off center. And if you know what tomorrow is, or if you don't, let me remind you, tomorrow is the certification of Donald Trump's win. But it also marks the anniversary of what they call J6, where they say these insurrectionists stormed the Capitol and did what they did. And basically, this was all incited and led by Donald Trump, according to the deep state. And so even though he hasn't been charged with any type of insurrection, they're claiming this on him. And all these distractions that have been taking place from New Orleans to Vegas and Matthew Littleberger and the ongoing investigation there, are these things the distractions that were trying to keep us from a massive false flag that was going to take place potentially in the morning, January 6th, right before or after the certification, depending on how that goes? And let me kind of lay this out for you real quick, okay? First and foremost, with the certification taking place, we've already heard, and we know VP Harris will be the one presiding over this. We know that Jamie Raskin has parroted multiple times that he wants to invoke Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to not allow Trump to take office. And if you haven't heard that, let me quickly roll this tape real fast to show you this video. Watch this.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in civil war conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job.
So this is obviously the desire of the deep state. They don't want Trump to get in. Why? Is it because there's multiple congressmen, senators, and different people within these spaces who have been caught up in all these heinous crimes, whether it be trafficking of people, children, sex crimes, pedophilia, murder, war crimes? Who knows? I would dare say it's a lot of these things. Pay-to-play schemes, getting overpaid and taking money, stealing the American people's money, sending stuff offshore, saying that it's going to other countries when it's really funneling back through their contracting firms and into their pockets. Will a lot of this be exposed? And are these people terrified of these things to be exposed and potentially go to jail or be taken out? This could very well be the case, that they don't want Donald Trump to get into office to probe and investigate and put these people in jail for the various things that have occurred. So with that being said, they're trying to utilize every single potential and possible mechanism to ensure that he doesn't get in, which Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, even though he has not been charged with any form of insurrection, they are going to potentially invoke this. And let me kind of play this out for you the way that I'm thinking now, understanding that there is a false flag warning set up for tomorrow. And again, we don't know if it's an isolated location. Is this planned to happen in D.C.? Is this at multiple locations across the U.S.? We don't know. All we're hearing is that this is the intended plan of what is being put out right now across multiple high-level sources at this point. So if they decide to come into this meeting, there's 3 different scenarios that essentially could play out. One, let's say Raskin, and if VP Harris aligns with the vision of these individuals who say we don't want to certify this thing, well, they can basically gather up enough votes and say, nope, we're not going to certify it, which would then potentially invoke and get the Supreme Court involved, and it could take weeks to months for them to actually do this. The second option would be for them to invoke some legal argument that maybe gets to people and they say, yeah, you know what, we don't want to certify this either. Then it goes to the Supreme Court. And that whole path, the legal path, Trump's legal team will obviously file lawsuits and go down that path very quickly. Or the last thing is, it actually does get certified and everything goes as planned. And so if that goes as planned and Trump does get certified, as he should because he won clearly, will these people then invoke their plan B, which would be this false flag event that they would blame on veterans and militia? And then they can weave it back around and say, hey, it's the people who are friends of Matthew Livelsberger. Or maybe it wasn't Matt Livelsberger that was in that vehicle to begin with. They said the blood didn't match up to his son. They said that the information that was provided as far as his bona fides didn't match up. They're saying that the vehicle that he said he had, the Ford Mustang, that actually wasn't his first vehicle to verify who he was. There's multiple reports now, including the additional manifestos that don't make any sense. They're all over the place, and they said this is definitely not this guy. So is it not him to begin with? Who was impersonating him? Did they kill him prior, or did he disappear? What's really taking place and taking shape with these distractions? And they're going to try to weave this back around and say that this false flag incident that takes place on January 6th is tied to people who are with this guy, or maybe it wasn't him, and now this is him enacting something on January 6th. Whatever the case is, this is an emergency, and we need to be aware of what's happening. We need to understand that these people are going to do whatever they can to not allow Trump to come in to clean house and to drain the swamp. And so I want you to pay close attention to what's unfolding here. This is major. This is on a massive scale. And I think this could very well be the thing that we were being distracted away from so that we wouldn't be looking at this. And look, here's the thing. The certification is supposed to be public since 1887. It said that this is supposed to be public for transparency, so the media can be there. Is it possible with this rise of information pertaining to a potential threat that could be happening? Maybe they say it's going to happen in D.C., maybe they shut off the certification because of the bad weather and because of this threat, and they host this certification session in private, not allowing people to be in there. And then who knows what happens in there. So we need to be well aware of what's at stake here. We need to be well aware. We need to get this information out far and wide. And I would much rather put this information out there and nothing happen, because maybe it distracts and diverts or gets these people exposed and they get up off their plan and they move and they say, okay, we're not going to do this, than to actually keep my mouth shut and something does happen and we had the potential to put this out far and wide to let people know and to expose this stuff. So I ask you, please, share this out with somebody. Share this out with some friends. Share this out with some family members. Make your own videos. Let's push this information to stop whatever they're trying to do. January 6th, 2025 is a very important date. So please get this report out right now.